You've got to choose carefully who you surround yourself with, professionally, personally. In a business like ours, where it all revolves around people, and it's all about networks, and it's about friendships. If you're a recruiter, search professional, whatever you want to call yourself, and you're not doing content, it's like not doing cold calls back in the day when cold calls were the thing.
This is going to be a special show for the Recruitment Show. We are celebrating 14 years of Bentley Lewis. And this is all about Lewis, his growth, his lessons learned, the company, and instead of asking random questions, we have asked our teams to ask you 14 different questions. And our team members come from different walks of life, and it'll be great to know what your intake is, and let's take it from there.
Sweet. Thank you. What a great intro.
First of all, congratulations.
14 years. Thank you. It doesn't feel like 14 years. It's been, it's been crazy. So much has happened in the world in 14 years.
I know, right? And to start off,
Go on.
and this is a good link to Alison. She said, when you started Bentley Lewis, what did you think it will look like in 14 years?
I don't think couldn't even imagine 14 years in the future. Because when I started, everyone was reminding me, most businesses fail in year one. I'm like, okay, cool. And then you make it to year two. You make it to the end of year one, and then they're like, well done. But most businesses fail in year two. So to be honest, I didn't imagine, I didn't think of it in years. When I started, it was, I want to build the best global search firm on the planet. I had no idea how long that would take. I probably thought it would take much quicker, because you always think it going to be quicker. I think back then. And also 14 years, that was basically about half of my life already, because I started when I was 29. So imagining half of my life in the future, you know what I mean? It was, you don't even think about it like that. So it was step by step. When I started, it was literally, right, I need to have enough money to cover my rent or my mortgage. And then let's see what happens. And if it works, great. And if it doesn't, I'll go get another job. And that was my mindset then.
And look, have you grown and evolved? That's amazing. And during these 14 years of your time, was there a time where you thought of nearly giving up? And what motivated you to keep going?
Never. Giving up's never even crossed my mind, even in the most difficult moments, because never always good. The 23 was tough for recruiting firms, this last year, and it started to get better now. And there's always been moments. There's always been moments over the last 14 years. The economies, they get up and down, right? When I started in 2010, it was the end of the financial crisis, which is a good time to start because the economy was down, right? So you're kind of only going to go one way, which is up. And bank accounts were free. I got a little spot in the West End for free, paid for the cleaner. It was just a good moment to start. And then suddenly it's really easy to do quite well the first few years, relatively, right? Because you're starting at zero. So you do well in your first year and then you can double. And you were doubling every year for a while. And then suddenly you start hiring people. And then, and then the market's a little bit shaky and there's not as much work as there was, and things change so quick. And then you start hitting difficult moments, which are great. It's a cliche, right? The learning experiences. But it's so easy when it's going well. It's just so easy. Because just the searches are coming in, you're making the placements, it's great. But then you find out the most about yourself in the difficult moments, right? That classic quote of you either look down in everyone's in the trenches and you can choose to look up or down, So for me, it's always just real optimistic realism, something like that, where the bad times don't last forever and the good times don't last forever, and everything's moments in time. And I think you've got to just enjoy every moment. It's like good health, fitness, friendships, relationships. They're all momentary, And when you're going through these good times, you think it's going to last forever. And then something happens and it reminds you. And then it kind of refocuses you, grounds you. You learn all the different stuff like COVID, you know, like our clients called us like when first lockdown happened and they were like, mate, we're stopping all those searches. And then you're like, and then you can't see any money coming in for, you didn't know, right? Back then you got no idea, like when is it going to restart? No idea. So you got no money coming in. You don't even know when any money's coming in. And then you got people to pay salaries and you got rent and you got like loads of stuff going on, you know. And that was interesting because a lot of people didn't even take a breath. They just like cut, right? And some people took a breath and we managed to keep everyone. And it was a good learning experience in hindsight. But they're the moments, you know, like the tough moments and good moments are like yin and yang, you know. So I never thought, to go back to the question, never really thought about giving up, ever.
During those difficult times, how do you keep yourself and the team motivated?
So myself, to keep going, myself, I do a lot of, you know, I like to do a lot of exercise, and so for me, I do a lot of CrossFit and things, and it's quite a good thing to like take my mind off stuff, because when you're like doing a difficult workout, you know, you're doing CrossFit, you just can't think about anything else. Like this morning before I came here, I'm like, right, I'm going to the gym. I went 6:30 and it was like a hard workout, rowing and rope climbs. I was climbing a rope. All I was thinking about was climbing the rope. I wasn't thinking about, oh my God, you know, this search isn't going well, or oh my God, I need to get more business, and oh my God, what are we going to do about this and that? And you just don't think about anything. You just think about getting up that rope. And then all the endorphins, and you like walk out the gym at 7:30 feeling like an animal, and you can literally conquer anything in that day. And so that keeps me very motivated. I'm an optimist, and so naturally I'm optimistic. I also choose, you know, like you're in your own head. That's the voice you listen to most, and so I do a lot of stuff to make sure that my self-talk is positive. Like I choose what words I say to myself. I congratulate myself. I like to celebrate the little wins. It's like I did a talk at this at my old university, and I presented this award, Impact Award, and I shared this one piece of advice, which was about making your bed in the morning, right? So if you make your bed in the morning, it's from the Admiral, I forget his name. If you make your bed in the morning, you've completed successfully your first task of the day, and then whatever happens to you that day, because life's really hard, you come back to perfectly made bed, and you can start again the next day, which is such a great quote, right? Because if you celebrate even making your bed, you're wiring yourself to be positive. And I do those things. I also have some really, I like music, and there's certain tracks, if I'm feeling a little down, because everyone goes through, it's like normal to feel up and down. If I'm feeling a bit down, I'll get my headphones in, I'll put on some cool tunes. And the tunes that I've got that I like to listen to, the minute I press play, it's like you can't help but smile. And it puts you in a good mood, and you can like start to wire yourself to be positive. I also try I don't consume myself with all the negativity on social media. I think there's a lot of that, you know, if you're like constantly scrolling for hours and hours, it's like definitely has an impact on your mental health. So I choose that. And the other big thing I do is you've got to choose carefully who you surround yourself with, professionally, personally, because it's like if you've got people around you that are negative, it's like draining, and it really affects your energy. Because for me, it's like protecting my energy. And every time I'm working with someone, we get a new team member, I'm giving some of my energy to them. And so for me, it's really important that I protect my energy. And there was a moment like over this last 14 years where the team dynamics were crazy and they weren't getting on, and we had to make changes, and it was super draining. So it's really important that you hire the right people, and for them and for you, you know, it's like right person, right job. And your friendship circle needs to be positive as well. You know, if you've got someone in your friendship circle that's like being really negative, tell them to get out of your sunshine. That's how I think of it. You know someone like that. We all know someone like that, right? It's just constant negativity. and life's too short, right?
Absolutely.
I read this, I got this, there was a Snoopy quote, I've said this before, Charlie Brown and Snoopy sitting having a chat. And Charlie Brown said to Snoopy, you only live once. And Snoopy's like, no, you die once, you live every day, which is a brilliant quote. And it's always stuck with me. And it's so true.
Absolutely.
The team question, because you asked me about team too. I always think that you have to hire motivated people and then try and inspire them. It's quite hard to motivate people generally. Like I think it's, if you find some people are motivated in life and others aren't. But generally, and maybe you're better to answer this question than I am. But again, I just try and lead by example. I put my exercise in the diary, which I think gives permission for others to talk about doing it. Because I think having a integrated life is important because we're working for a long time. You've got to protect your energy. It's good to take time off. It's good to exercise. It's good to eat well. We're now in a fully remote vibe. And so I do that. I try and lead by example. I hope people, by being human or authentic, people open up more and you have proper conversations and you can feel if how people are feeling, as you get to know them more. Some people share more than others and you can always feel how much to go in or not, and so I think once you get a good connection with someone, it's like if you speak with your team about just irrelevant, unimportant stuff, when it comes around to speaking about important stuff, you've already got open channels of communication. It becomes easier, and people are more likely to be like, look, do you know what, I'm struggling with this, or I'm on a bit of a down arrow, things like that. And then I think it's a good way to just set the scene to help people if they need it.
I think you've done a really good job doing that.
Thanks.
Okay, so I've got a question from Gio. After 14 years of service, I'm curious to know your perspective on most significant changes in the recruitment industry. Over the past decade, how has Bentley Lewis been able to adapt to the ever-changing landscape?
Love that question, Gio. The recruitment industry and the business world has changed incredibly. Obviously, technology is a huge one, and also as different generations enter the workforce, they're the two for me huge changes. And then new jobs being created. There's loads of new jobs created in the last 10 years. But if you go back 14 years, so if you go back 16 years, that's when I first started using LinkedIn. Before then, it was Yellow Pages, it was company directories, websites, Google, Boolean searching. I loved Boolean searching, still do, to find people. And so, we'd be going down, I remember we would go down the library and, we'd be looking at directories from different industries and finding out who the movers and shakers were and who the people we should be connecting with. And then it was loads more cold calling, email. It was just different. It was so different. And then LinkedIn started to get a little bit more popular. I started to use LinkedIn. And then I'll never forget, I found that the guys I was working with at the time, they were later movers. You get some people that like to adopt technology now, for what they call first adopters. I was first adopting. They were like, why are you wasting your time on LinkedIn? Pick the phone up. Because back then it was if you couldn't pick the phone up and make a cold call, you had to do 100 calls a day kind of vibe right back then. And I found this lady called Nicola Rimmer. She's in Australia now. In fact, I'm going to drop her a note. And she was the first person I ever found and connected with through LinkedIn. And we found her a job and we made some money. And I went to the guys. I was like, guys, and they were like, you just made a fee through LinkedIn. What? And they were like, right, train everyone else kind of thing. And so, it started to tell people, teach people, show people. I mean, I was no expert, but the more you use something, the more you get used to it and stuff. So I started using LinkedIn, and then it was a big change. And then so if you look at tech, LinkedIn's clearly changed the recruiting industry, incredibly. It's probably the one bit of tech that's changed it, because every single recruiter is on LinkedIn, every senior leader is on LinkedIn. The black book, Headhunters back before then, it used to be I've got my black book. It's all good. No one else knows my black book. Suddenly I got blew out blew out. You know, the databases kind of blew out. They're still important because not everyone's on LinkedIn. So you still need to know how to find people who aren't on LinkedIn. Plus, connecting with people, not everyone looks after their own LinkedIn. They might have their EA, they might have someone else. So when we're doing exec search, you need to use all of the tools available to you, not just LinkedIn, but that's a huge tool. And then obviously AI has come in. And this last year, we've now integrated it into everything we do. It's in our database. We use it for sourcing. LinkedIn's got it baked in. We use it for everything, contract. I mean, like everything we now use AI for in some way. So that's been crazy. And then I think the generational stuff has changed recruiting because, you know, our job is to find people for companies. So like, what's the story, right? Our whole job is storytelling. So understand what motivates an individual, why they want to make a move, what they want to do next. You know, we help manage their careers over like a long period of time, and it's finding the right person for the right job. And what people want out of work has changed a lot. You know, let's say pre 2020, it was 5 days a week in the office, pretty much, right? There was a little bit of flexibility in some companies, but generally it was 5 days. We were 5 days in the office. You had a little bit of flexibility pre-COVID.
I did.
Yeah. We set up in America pre-COVID, so we were already used to one remote worker, so to speak. But just what people want from work has changed. Then COVID was a catalyst for like, you know, I remember like it was about a week before I went to Willis Towers Watson to do a talk on flexible working. I remember it. And then suddenly the week after, everyone was flexible. Everyone was working fully remote. And you're like, oh, yeah, we can do this. And then people have been some industries have been pulling back in. This is obviously for white collar workers, right? Because a lot of industries you have to go in, like hospitals and police and all that. But for white collar, financial services, pharma, consumer, I mean, loads of industries, you can work remote. Some have been trying to get people back in. And there was a study done a year ago, polled CEOs, and most thought that people would be back in 5 days. And it was redone recently. There was the article in the Fortune magazine that actually, I think it was like, now only 30% of CEOs think people are going to be back in. So I think it's here. It's not going anywhere. And that has changed the way that we recruit. It's been super interesting. So that's just a few highlights.
In a link to, you know, LinkedIn and content, we got a message from Glenn. Actually, he sent a WhatsApp, and we can insert that in. And his message was,
Lewis, when did you realise your business knowledge and experience was really valuable to others to the point where you then turned it into content to share freely with others? And why do you continue to share this business knowledge that is valuable so freely as content for others?
I don't even still think that my business knowledge is that you don't really think about it like that. I think it's you don't want to let yourself get big headed, and there's always someone that's done better than you, and it's all relative, isn't it? So I don't really think like that particularly. I try and, you try and give back, you try and help others. The big thing that I get out of my job is, the altruistic, like helping others. We have an impact on people's lives. The people we place, they have teams under them. Those teams have families. So the work matters and it's impactful. And that's how I think of it. And then the content that we do, and we do lots of content. And like, if you're not doing content, you got to get on the content game, because for every business, content marketing is like king. And we do educational content around all the stuff we're expert at. And again, it has an impact on many people. And so the educational vibe is wonderful, because if one piece of content can help someone land their next job, or hire an exceptional person for their team or whatever, or someone sees it and a mate of theirs is like, oh my God, I'm like preparing for this biggest interview of my life. I've got no idea how to like craft my story. And someone's like, oh, I saw this content that Lewis did the other day. Maybe try these steps. Amazing. So yeah, it's really cool content. And it's really nice to do, and it has many benefits for those like watching it. For me doing it, because I learn a lot. Like even these conversations, the more you talk about what you do, like it goes in, like, so it's really good for like many things.
Awesome. We love giving back.
No, we love it. It's like, because you can do good in the world and make money at the same time.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be just I know it's, we're in a commercial thing. It's about making money and all of that. But you can make money and you can be happy and you can be giving back and doing good in the world all at the same time.
Exactly. And this links to Kat. And she says, what side of business do you most enjoy doing?
I enjoy all of it. Like, it's a game. I think of it as a game. It's like playing Monopoly or something. Once you're in it for a while, and once you realise that it's a game, and to Simon Sinek, we did this thing. It's an infinite game. So there's not a lot of people think of business as finite. You either win or you lose. It's I've lost that pitch or I've lost this thing, but it's not really like that. It's infinite in that you continually improve, evolve. You might not get that search this time, but maybe you get it next time. And in our industry, most of our, if not all of our clients have a few search folks that they like. We get work sometimes. We get that, like it really is like super dynamic, and the game of business is really fun and really interesting and involved. And our business is crazy because it's all about people. We're a services business. We're not selling a product. And so it's all about humans. And our game is about making friends and building community and influencing people, not in like a weird way, but just helping to educate, influence, manage careers. We've got to be generalists. We've got to be able to speak about absolutely anything and really be amazing communicators. So, and that's the interesting stuff. Like for me, it's like how humans behave. How can I build a relationship with someone that is guarded? They don't want to. Like I really enjoy the human aspect. Like, and the big thing for me is like, yes, I made. They like we get on now. We're in rapport now. That's a really cool thing for me. It's like building rapport with different people from different countries. I always wanted to build a global search firm because it's really interesting working with people from different cultures, backgrounds. And you have to be different to build a relationship with someone that's from a different culture. Find common ground. Finding the common ground is massive, and so many people in this world don't do that. Right? They're like, this is me, this is you, my way or the highway. Right? If you go macro, all the problems in the world, everyone's like, no, this is my way, and this is why we're right, and this is why you're wrong, and not many trying to find this common ground. And so for me, like trying to be. And always working on being an excellent communicator by way of listening to understand people, so you can find a common ground, and you can agree on things, and then that's the way you can start to become friends and build a relationship with someone, and then move things forward. And yeah, so I love all of that. And then my job itself has changed because like I started as a recruiter. And then I was like, I think I'm quite a good recruiter. I'm going to try and start my own business because I always wanted to do my own business. And then even when I started my own business, I was a sole trader. So I was like working longer and harder for less money than I was before. And I was like the recruiter, the HR, the sales, the finance, the marketing, the cleaner, whatever. And then you only start building a business when you start hiring people to do stuff, to do other tasks and other things. And then you give them responsibility, and then they're doing that, and then you're doing that. And then as time goes on, then you are the almost directing, like you're responsible for all of these things, and you hire amazing people to run stuff and to be responsible for certain things, and you give them autonomy and responsibility and things like that. And then my role evolves over time. So, and it's still evolving. I mean, it really feels like I've only just started. Like, it's crazy. And we've got like really wonderful people in different parts of the world. We went fully remote. My leadership had to change. The way we work has changed. The tech we've used changed. I mean, it's like everything, the content, the podcasting. And that's how you stay, And the other thing we've done is also hired different generations. So if we look at our team now, we have someone who's 19, 20 to someone who's, I won't age them, but, later on in life, and everyone in between. And that's the way you keep ahead of things, right? Because everyone has some value to add. Everyone's got a different perspective. We've also gone global, like really global, so again, like growing up, like someone's perspective in India might be different from someone's in San Francisco, and then age has a big thing and everything. So we've got like so many different voices. Then I think that keeps you also like making sure that you stay relevant and you evolve and you don't, and you're staying ahead because you want to be ahead of the game. You don't want to be like, oh, I need to do that, or everyone else is doing it. It's like, no, we're doing that and you can see what we're doing, but then we'll be on to the next. You want to keep on. I love that. Always try new things, stay relevant, stay ahead.
I think that really links well with Ed's question. And his question was, how do you approach delegation and building a strong team to support your business goals?
So, hardest thing is giving people trust off the bat. That classic, earn my trust. It's just classic, isn't it? And, but look, we're now in a remote world. Well, we're in a remote world. So Bentley Lewis are fully remote. And so you hire great people like Ed. Ed's an experienced exec recruiter. He was he was at WPP. He's been at for years, really experienced, knows his stuff. So when you hire someone like that, you need to give them room to do their thing. Otherwise, don't hire them. And a lot of people, I think, miss that. They hire someone and then they're micro. They go micro. So for me, I had to adapt my leadership to, it's this, again, like will and skill, right? I want to hire people that have high will, high motivation, that like want to be, they're on it. They want to do well in life. They're motivated. They're just, like really keen to like do well and build business and stuff like that. And then you've got to give them your trust off the bat. You've got to give them lots of responsibility, and you have to then measure output. Like, how do you measure output? Like, what does good look like? Both for you and for them, because everyone wants to know that they're moving forward and doing well. And that's how I do it. And you also have to adapt as a leader. So, it's not like this is my style, because actually some people need different styles. So some people who maybe their technical skills aren't as good as Ed's, they haven't been in the game for as long. They're like maybe just a few years in or something. So then you have to change your style. So there's still a high will, but you need to be a bit more micro. You need to spend a bit more time with them, or you need to spend time doing different things with them than you would with someone who's really high skill. So you have to be able to adapt and serve your team. So many leaders, it's like, this is my style, and you speak with the team and they're like, he's too micro, he's too macro, whatever. So I think for me, and again, you have to tell me, I try and adapt my style to who's in the team. And I always ask people when they join, like, how do you want to work together? Bearing in mind we're fully remote.
That's an important question, though.
Yeah. So maybe we touch base a couple of times a week. We've got the chats, the whole thing. And it's really difficult with younger people. So if you're a younger person in a fully remote vibe, it's really difficult. Like the learning, how people learn is really tough. And so you've got to be much more thoughtful around how you train and learn. Because if you're in a fully remote organization, you can't just sit and listen to your boss and just take it all in. Like you might be sitting in like at home and you can't hear anyone. And so you've got to be, so as the individual, you've got to be much more proactive. And then as the leader, you have to be like way more thoughtful about how you try and teach and develop people.
Amazing. This links really well with Monica's question. For someone earlier in their executive search career, what would be your biggest advice to building and growing a successful book of business?
So in our game, it's 3 things: network, profile, performance. I think macro. It's probably for every industry, right? So in a business like ours, where it all revolves around people and it's all about networks and it's about friendships. And I'll never forget, I was speaking to a guy in New York a few years ago, and they were like, "This is who's the?" They were saying like the best producer in their firm, and they were talking about someone in like one of the big search firms, and that person had one good mate. And that one good mate happened to be like the global head of exec search at Goldman's or something. It wasn't Goldman's, but one of the big banks. And they just gave them all their work. And they were generated like more money than anyone, right? So that's a really interesting one, because it's all about friends. People work with people that they know, like, and trust. Fact. That's it. And actually, our clients are the people, not the companies. You know, we could be working for company A today because I'm really good friends with the person that works there, and suddenly they go somewhere else, and suddenly I'm working with this company. But I'm not working with those people anymore because someone new's come in and their best mate is Ameera, and they're using Ameera today. And you're like, infinite game changes because the same things. So if you're kind, empathetic, if you treat people good, if you're there for people, giving good advice, educational content, all of that stuff, you spend time with people, because you can only be friends with people if you spend time with them. And friendships give and take. So you've got to give, all of those things. Then, and your career's long, and you've got a long-term mindset. You've got to be in the game for a while, right? Like I've been in it for a while, and it only starts getting better. It just gets better and better with age, this industry. You know, so I was pretty good in my 20s, 30s. Yeah, it was all right. And now I'm in my 40s. I'm like, damn, you know, like I'm switching up the gears now. And then 50s, 60s, incredible, right? Like, because if you think about me, 42, you know, people are in leadership roles, like maybe, let's say from, you know, early on, maybe mid 30s. I don't think many CEOs are in their 40s. I mean, there are, you know, but like the biggest companies on the planet, they're typically older. But anyway, my point is that you age with your network. So mindful that you've also got to have a broader network of different age groups, because if you age with your network and you only focus on people of your level, your network retires and you're like out the game. So for someone starting out, patience, a long-term view, right? This isn't day trading. This is like long-term investing. And so invest in friendships and invest in your network. Profile right now is content. I think right now, if I go back to my thing about cold calling back in the day, if you're a recruiter, search professional, whatever you want to call yourself, and you're not doing content, it's like not doing cold calls back in the day when cold calls were the thing. So you've got to do content, like fact. And that builds your profile. As well as that, face-to-face, coffee, lunches, dinners, all of those other like really good activities also work. It's an and game, right? It all works. But if you're not doing content, you've got a massive and that you're not doing. And why would you not do that? So you've got to do everything available to you to build your profile. And then performance, you've got to be like level, you know, there's levels to the game, right? So you've got to make sure that your experience and performance is incredible. And that's when the phone starts to ring. And then it's a circle.
I love that.
And last thing is don't hold back. You've got to go all in. There's a lot of stuff online about like, you know, it's almost like, you know, don't work hard, or, you know, just do a few days a week, or this and that, you know. And but I think to build anything meaningful, you've got to go really, 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 really hard. But you balance it. For my earlier thing about maintaining energy, having integrated life, all of that, if you can manage to get to a place where, you know, it's amazing. I remember, I'm going to butcher this quote, but it's like, I was reading something on like TikTok or something. It was, you know, it's something like, you know, it's work if you don't like it, but it's your passion if you love it, something like that. You know, so if you find something that you really enjoy, it doesn't feel like work, and you can go all in, but you can still, you know, I'm not burnt out. But I think if you're going all in on, like, if you're working really hard on something, you don't really enjoy it, you start getting burnt out. You don't really want to turn up on a Monday. That's the time to start looking for a new job, isn't it? But then if you find something, and I know not everyone's lucky enough to find this, So you can get a passion from other places too. But for me, I'm really love business. I happen to be in the recruiting sector. It's wonderful. I'm passionate about it, and it energizes me. And so it also adds to the whole mix, I think.
I love that. Jamie's question: what's the difference that makes a difference?
Yes, Jamie. So in our industry, I think the difference that makes a difference, and actually no, every industry, is human skills. I was talking to some students last week at the University of Birmingham. I was hosting a table. There were 10 of us on the table, and the students were asking questions. And one of the students asked me the same question, like, what skills should I work on? And it's human skills. All this AI is doing AI stuff. The difference that makes a difference. So I talked about building network, friendships. People work with people that they know, like, and trust, and that's how the world works. And so you've really focus on your human skills, and then the human skills are listening, trying to understand someone. So much of the world right now is debating. If you're good at talking, I remember back at school, you're quite good at talking, join the debating society. Then the debating society is training you just to make your point and argue, right? And then counter anything that the other team do, and then you do your roundup. And then people take that into universities, on campuses is like the front line, that everyone's arguing with each other, right? And then you go into the world of work, and then they're telling you, well, no, don't speak about politics and religion and this and that, don't do that at work. And that just off the campuses where they were. And you never get taught really how to sit down with someone that you might fundamentally disagree with, try and find common ground, because you're in a team together and you want to be a high performing team. And so those skills are difficult. People find it very, very difficult to be friends with people that they think they don't agree with on certain things that are important to them, if they find out, So, but being able, I think, as an individual to find common ground with people that you share with is really powerful. And they're the people that I think that they're the people that get ahead. And the other things also, like empathy, like leaning in, trying to understand people, it's all linked, right? Listening. If you can nail those skills, then I think that's the difference that makes a difference.
I have a really nice question from Corona. As a founder, what are the top 3 qualities or criteria you prioritize when selecting candidates for your team?
So we want kind people, motivated, and really just good humans, because life's short. And I said, to my point is that you're investing your energy in everyone that comes, right? Because someone chooses to spend some of their life with you, and you've got to give back, right? So it's like a partnership, right? Like someone's choosing to spend their time, you spend your time, energy, and so you want to find someone that's like a willing people that are in it with you together, all in. Because I go all in, and you want people to be all in, and that's it. You want to find people that they want to do it. You don't want to find people that aren't into it and stuff. There's always a place for everyone in this world. So I think when you're hiring, it's important to find people that, and I always say this, like there's 3 things when you're hiring. So you want to find people that, are they going to love the job? Are they going to love working in your firm? And are you going to love working with them? I think they're the 3 things, right? And if you manage to find that, then generally it's great. And not get offended if people leave, because again, like some people, like with the sporting analogy, it's like some people are with the same club the whole career, and some people are with a club for a few seasons, and that's all cool. Everyone's got different journeys. That's it. But you choose to spend some of your journey together. It's a chapter, and so they're the things. You just want someone that's, again, like just want someone that's just up for it.
Yeah,
I want to learn.
Absolutely.
Go on.
This famous quote from Bentley Lewis: "The work is the work, you do it with."
Yeah, boom. So true, right? It's so true. So, and then it's the feelings, like feeling you get with someone, So again, the human stuff, and I think that's true of someone joining a firm. if you're joining a firm, go all in, and they'll go all in too. You have a great relationship, and then you move on. And so many people I speak with, and I'm like, how did you get that job? I said, oh yeah, I used to work for that person like a few years ago, or they moved, they took me with them, or or a team member got promoted, went to another firm, took me with them. So people see, how you behave and the energy you put in, and it does matter.
Question from Annika. What is the best advice another person has given you on entrepreneurship? Also, what is your advice to others?
I did think about it before I always wanted to do it. Like actually, like the day I graduated, I set up my own fashion distribution company. I always wanted to do business and stuff. I watched my cousin James build his fashion company. So I learned a lot about those things. I did read, I read The E-Myth Revisited by Robert Gerber about entrepreneurship. And then, so Ronald Cohen, who was the founder of Apex Partners, PE guy, he wrote a book called Second Bounce of the Ball about investing in PE stuff. So I kind of read those two things, and then I consumed a lot of content on Facebook and Instagram, mostly back then. And then there was less content on LinkedIn, and just like motivational stuff. And I was looking at like, entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurs are kind of like the modern day rock star almost, like on social media and all of that. And then it was like, you just start, and then you learn so much from doing, experience. And then I start to like, I mentioned the Admiral quote. I think I mentioned I don't know if I did it on here, but I'll say it again. It was like, so I did this talk at this University of Birmingham, and I left them with one quote. It was this quote from this Admiral, and it was about making your bed. Always make your bed in the morning. It's first essentially completed task. I think I mentioned that earlier. Things like that, those little things make a huge difference. And not worrying about, you can have like a lofty goal, like, I want to build the best global exec search firm on the planet. That's like a lofty goal. But what am I going to do every day? And so, early on for me, it's like having a great ground game. Like I plan my day the night before. I like diarize my activities. I want to push my business forward every single day. A little bit of new outreach every day. Connect with someone new every day. Reach out to a friend every day. Have a to-do list. So even on my most busy days, I don't miss out the tasks. I delegate and give responsibility to people, things like that, and I keep learning. There's always new ways, seek feedback. There's some of the things that I do.
And advice that someone gave you?
So one piece of advice,
that someone gave to
never
you.
Give up. Don't ring that bell. Do you know what? One of the biggest things was like, it was like a lot of people give up too soon. Like it's hard.
Augustina, what's one mistake that leaders should avoid making?
That's a great question. It's probably the hardest question. I think building good relationships with your team. There's actually two, actually. So I would say like the caricature leader's supposed to be pretty tough and, like classic, like dictatorial kind of thing. I think there's so much value in giving some of yourself and being authentic and being there for your team. So that mindset of, how can I serve you? Because the biggest challenge that people have when they go into leadership is moving from I to we. So I was a really good recruiter, and suddenly I'm moving from I to we. So to Ed's question, I have to give people responsibility. I have to give people room to do their thing. Otherwise it's not gonna grow. Like you can't do everything. You've got to do it with others. So I think leaders sometimes miss that. The second is, who does a go-to person go to? Because leadership's tough. And again, you don't want to be showing any kind of cracks in the armor. You don't want to be like, oh, I don't know. You don't want to be like, oh, I'm having a bit of a downer today. And the team are like, and then you think the team are like, like, what's going on? So I think leaders also need to appreciate that they're human and they need to find people to go to if they're struggling. And this is this thing about, I talk about a lot, of building a personal board of directors. So get some really good people around you that aren't necessarily involved in your business. They could be friends, mentors, whoever, that have a different skill set, or they're from a different, give you a different perspective. Because when you're, and that's the thing of like working on you and on your business rather than just working in your business, because you can get caught working in your business. You know, like there's a million things going on, and oh my God, the market's bad, and oh my God, the sales are down, or oh my God, this person's doing this. And it's just a million things that always come. Sometimes you've got to take a step back, look above the parapet, macro, right, what's up? Just a little course correct, see what's going on. And there's some of the things I think leaders should focus on doing.
Pat, what do you consider is key to running a successful business?
I think you've got to get great people around you. Yeah. I mean, you can be a sole trader. So if you're watching this and you're a sole trader, you have a business. I think you've got to be clear on what you want. You've got to be clear on what you want. The other thing is just forget the social media stuff where you're a billionaire by 25. You know, there's so much of it. Like, I remember, like, everyone kept asking me, like, when do you want to sell? When do you want to sell? When do you want to sell? And a lot of the businesses that you see on social media, they're tech businesses. They raise money every 18 months or whatever it might be. They're losing money. They have to either IPO or raise again and things like that. But there's a lot of businesses where you can make money from day one, like a services businesses like ours. And so, you know, you can have a goal. Maybe you want to get out at some point, but you don't. You can, if you're doing a business where you can make money and you're happy and you're enjoying it, amazing. Enjoy the journey, right? And then you see what happens. Things change sometimes. Life circumstances change. You know, things don't last forever. So, you know, enjoy and keep moving forward. And I think that might answer her question.
I love that. Alison, she says, what are you most proud of?
What am I most proud of? Can I be corny and be like, the way my daughters are growing up? I don't know.
You can say that.
For myself, for the business, actually, like, I'm really proud that we currently have a lovely team that everyone seems to get on really well, and everyone is pulling in the same direction. Everyone's nice and kind. Everyone's supporting each other, and, you know, even over like a difficult year in the economy, 23 was difficult in the economy. A lot of jobs, a lot of people made redundant, a lot of stuff going on. They're like the difficult moments are when you find out the most about the people around you. You know, in the trenches, roll up their sleeves, crack on, and it's been great. Like, we had a lot of good stuff going on, and even over COVID, many of the people that we have, you included, were with us before COVID. And we went through some tough moments and some great moments, and then tough moments and great moments, and you just become much closer. And so I'm really proud that we have a good group and doing good search work. We work with some of the best companies on the planet, placing senior leaders all over the world. I'm proud we're global, because I always wanted to build a global firm, and we've got wonderful clients, and it's good, and we just keep pushing forward.
I have a really nice message from Kelly, and she wrote, I admire Lewis for looking for the best people, being truly authentic, creating a family where we all can come and create together, literally what you've just said. I am truly blessed to know Lewis and to be part of such an incredible team of people.
Oh, thanks, Kelly. Kelly Stover, thank you so much. Great to have you on board. And yeah, that's what you want.
Exactly, and this is just from her. We didn't pin her back and make her force her to say that. Yeah, you have literally created a really nice environment for people to work in, for them to enjoy what they do, and also grow within their skills. So thank you for that. And yeah, I think everybody is just liking their journey. Last question. What do you think Bentley Lewis will look like in another 14 years?
Another 14 years. We're probably going to be in the metaverse. We're going to be sitting around a digital table, and again will be even more global. Maybe we'll have someone on Mars by then, or the moon. We're probably going to be recruiting jobs that we can't even imagine now, right? Like, don't know what the job titles are going to be. I'm sure jobs that we're going to be recruiting for don't even exist yet. And I'm going to be 56. I'm going to be feeling like I haven't even started yet. I'm going to still be doing all of my stuff. I'm going to be doing the best I can. I'm going to maintain my friendships with people. I'm going to be there for people, and hopefully friends with all the people that's working with us today, and whether they're working here or not, and enjoy. And then the moment I'm not happy or I need a change, put my hand up and say, look, I need to change things up. Because you've got to keep on being honest with yourself and all of that. So yeah, 14 years. I mean, if I look back, these last 14 years have been crazy. So if the pace of technology continues, maybe we'll all be off Earth by then. That's probably too soon. But also the other side to that, there's a lot of inertia with new technology. Like, a lot of people are slow to change, and so actually maybe things won't quite go as quickly as that, you know. And so I think really we'll be still placing amazing people at the best companies on the planet. We'll be using all the technology available to us to do that. I'll hopefully be recruiting and have the same customers, the same people, more new people. Yeah.
I love that. Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Congratulations once again.
Thank you. Amazing.